الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدى هدى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Before I begin, inshallah, I would like to take this opportunity to say to all of you brothers, and you're the majority, those of you who are born and raised in Al-Islam, and you're the majority of the people who are here. As the khatib, as the imam here, I see a level of fadl for people who preceded me to Al-Islam, especially Arabs. But those nations that are Muslims and people who are born and raised in Islam, they're not like the people who embrace Islam. We'll talk about that at some time, but the point is, there is some fadl for the one who has reached something before the lahiq. But I want to remind you people that you're being born and raised in Islam, it goes back to Allah first and foremost, and it goes back to your parents. So you people owe a debt of gratitude to your parents, those who have died from them and those who are living. You have to make tawbah to Allah for being bakhil and stingy and for giving your parents grief, because they gave you the greatest ni'mah. They gave you the ni'mah of al-Islam. It's greater than the ni'mah of life, because if a person is alive and he's not a Muslim, he's going to the hellfire. الْيَوْمَ أَكْمَلْتُ لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ وَأَتْمَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعْمَتِي. The itmam of the ni'mah was Allah gave you people al-Islam, and your parents gave you Islam. Now there are a lot of mahasin, a lot of beautiful things about Islam that if intelligent people looked at those things and pondered over them, they would become Muslims. But no one's going to become a Muslim unless Allah gave him that tawfiq. فَمَنْ يُرِدِ اللَّهِ أَنْ يَهْدِيَ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرُهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. If Allah wants to guide someone, Allah will open up his chest to Islam. But my mother, Allah didn't open up her breast to Islam. Why? Because she can't get her head around certain aspects of Islam. And my sister, and my brother, and my cousins, and many of the people who I grew up with. People who, when I hear Fulan or Fulana has been rushed to the hospital for my relatives, my heart starts pumping fast. 2 weeks ago, they took my mother to the hospital. I woke up, I saw all of those missed calls from America. I could not get out of the bed. I was gripped with paralysis because I thought this is that call that I've been dreading since I became Muslim. That my mother has checked out as a kafir. I didn't know what to do. I just stayed in the bed. Do I get up? Do I call? Do I make wudu? Do I go and get in hot water? Do I go to the masjid? I was paralyzed. Because unlike you, when we hear that your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, they die, we make dua for you. Our relatives die, khalas, stick a fork in them, it's done. It's a done deal. So your parents gave you Islam. You should respect that. There's a famous man here in the UK. He looks like a person of value. His personality, what he does even for society. His name is David Attenborough. He does all these amazing programs about the earth and the plants and the trees and the water. Anyone who sits down and watches that with his children, instead of wasting time in that which is haram, doesn't help our children to develop any skill sets. They're just watching nonsense, crap. We sit down with them, we watch those programs and documentaries, and we say, wow, look at that, subhanallah. You can see the wujud of an ilah. There is a God, there is a creator. How could this just be put together like that? And yet David Attenborough has not embraced this religion. And that's because if Allah wants you to become a Muslim, you become a Muslim. If Allah doesn't want you to become a Muslim, you're not going to become a Muslim. It's just simple as that. So I want to say once again, you people who were born and raised in Islam, you are violent if you don't appreciate the role that your mother and your father played in giving you this religion. You didn't have to think about it. You grew up, you opened your eyes, and you found yourself a Muslim with a Muslim name. That's how it is. And then one of us has the nerve to come and to be disrespectful to our mothers and our fathers. Bakhil to your mother. As it relates to the mahasin of Islam, as I mentioned, many things can cause a person to be interested in this religion. Many things. But contrary to what many of you born, raised Muslims think, a lot of people don't come into Islam because they come to the realization, La ilaha illallah. Most people that I met didn't come to Islam because of that. They came into Islam because of some other thing from the mahasin of Islam. Wa kathiru mahiya. Muslims themselves, we don't appreciate them. The non-Muslim sees that thing and he says, yes, this is the religion that I want to be a part of. And it's common. The lady who grows up in America, in the West, in Europe, in Germany, she grows up without this religion. And she sees how she's treated in this society. Misogynistic, oppressive society. She's a second-class citizen. She'll have the same job, more experience than her counterpart who's a man, and will make double the salary she makes. And then these people have some nerve to talk about civilization and democracy and human rights. And then we get on the defensive and the back foot and we apologize. Because a lot of us have that inferiority complex, real lesser. But the point is, she reads about Islam. She says, this is the religion that I want to be in. She comes into Islam, unfortunately, she marries the Muslim man. Could be an Arab, could be other than that. He shows her the worst that Muslims have to offer. And we pray to Allah that she has enough common sense to know Islam is one thing and the Muslims are something else. Islam doesn't condone, doesn't endorse how he's treating you. But that's an example of how and why people come into Islam. There was a companion. Her name was Sulaim. She was an intelligent lady. Intelligent. Took her little boy Anas ibn Malik at the age of 10 and said, Ya Rasulullah, my son Anas is an intelligent boy. I want him to take care of you. Sent him to Islamic school. Sent him to the masjid, to a mentor that's going to help him learn his religion. Learn the akhlaq and the adab of Islam. The father's busy. The father's not on the scene. Someone has to take care of that boy. Rasulullah took the boy in. 10 years. Anas ibn Malik took care of him. 10 years. He used to bring him his water for wudu. He used to help him with his issues. So he became one of the 6 companions that narrated the majority of the hadith. The lady Sulaim is on another level. The point about her. There was a man from the Ansar. His kunya was Abu Talha. From Medina, the man had money. The word how much, not in his vocabulary. He knew Sulaim. He knew she wasn't Muslim. He was a kafir. He approached her, Sulaim, you're an intelligent woman. I'm impressed with you. I want to marry you. I want to marry you. Sulaim, being a mu'mina muslima with aqidah and tawakkul, she said, La Abu Talha, you're a kafir and I'm a muslima. And that's not permissible. She had enough sense to say that. In June of this year, a wealthy Muslim couple contacted me. Father, medical doctor. Mother, medical doctor. Brain surgeon. They have money. Call me. Can you marry our daughter? It's going to be in December. Can you do the nikah and give dawah? I say, yeah, I'll be happy to do that. But you have to have this. Okay, we're going to do that. It's in December. But listen, the boy who she's going to marry is going to accept Islam on the day of the nikah. What? He's going to accept, he's not a Muslim now? No, on the day of the nikah, you're going to give him the shahada. Hey, I'm not judging you or anything like that, but how do you take a chance like that with your daughter? Why wait until the day of the nikah? I would think that you would delay the nikah to test him. Let him become a Muslim now and see if he's a real Muslim. But Sulaim, she understood that. The Muslim today will allow his daughter to marry a non-Muslim. I traveled throughout West Africa. It is a common practice in Africa right now. Common. The girl grows up in a Muslim family and she marries a Christian. Your children right now, the girl is in university. She's attracted to a Christian. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, وَلَا تُنْكِحُ الْمُشْرِكِينَ حَتَّى يُؤْمِنُوا وَلَعَبْدٌ مُؤْمِنٌ خَيْرٌ مِنْ مُشْرِكٍ وَلَوْ أَعْجَبَكُمْ أُولَٰئِكَ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى النَّارِ وَاللَّهُ يَدْعُو إِلَى الْجَنَّةِ وَالْمَغْفِرَةِ بِإِذْنِهِ. Do not marry your daughters and your women to non-Muslim men. No straight, nothing allows it. He's the last man on earth. It can't happen. Yes, the Muslim man can marry a Jewish woman, a Christian woman. Yes, Muslim woman can't marry anyone but a Muslim. That's it. No one else. Allah said in the Quran, the believing man who's a slave is better than the mushrik man who's not a slave. Although the Muslim man may impress you. He has a lot of money. He's from the complexion that you like. If it's a white person, European, let's do this. Some people think like that. Sulaim said, no. She said, but if you accept al-Islam, that'll be my dowry. She said that to a man who had a lot of money. He could easily give her a qintar. Easily. You accept Islam, you say la ilaha illallah, that'll be my dowry. And that's what he did. He accepted al-Islam. Maybe at the beginning he just wanted the woman. Maybe at the beginning, okay, I'm going to do this, I want the woman. Maybe. But after accepting Islam, he saw the Muslims. And he dealt with the Muslims. And he saw the beauty of Islam. And he saw the beauty of the brotherhood of Islam. And he saw the Nabi of Islam. And he made his Islam good. And Allah revealed many ayat. One ayat about Abu Talha. وَلَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You people will not gain righteousness until you spend from what you love. This man went, the best money that he had in terms of his gardens, he said, Ya Rasulullah, I'm giving you this. Fi sabilillah. I love this garden, but I'm going to give it to you to do with it what you want for the Muslims. So it's a dalil, it's a proof. He didn't marry the girl just for the lady. He married her, he became a good Muslim. So the point is, what's the point? People don't always come into Islam because they had an epiphany. And they realize, oh, the fitrah, Allah, I'm supposed to. No. There's different aspects of the beauty of Islam. And from the beauty of Islam is the issue of racism. From the beauty of Islam is the issue of racism. Meaning, most of the African American people that I know, myself included, the ones that I know, most of us embrace Islam because this religion answers the question of race and the politics of race and the reality of racism. I stand here before you and I say, the vast majority of us in this masjid, we are racists, except the few that Allah give them isma. And I'm not saying anyone bi'ainihi, you're racist. No. The societies we come up in, they make us racist. And where we come from in our countries, we are racist. We're Muslims. And you may get along with a person who's not exactly like you, but when it comes to crunch time, when you get upset, when you get mad, when you want to get married to your people, when things like that happen, that's when the racism comes out. I'm not saying you're a racist, I'm saying the majority of us in this room are racist, myself included, without any excuses. I grew up in a very racist society. America is racist. The UK is racist. Everything built upon the history of this country came from colonization, and in that is racism. But does that mean every white person is racist? No, doesn't mean that. I'm telling you, Muslims are racist. The Prophet mentioned, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in an authentic hadith, ثَلَاثَةٌ مِّنْ عُمُورِ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ لَن تَتْرُكَهَا أُمَّتِي. 3 things from the time of Jahiliyyah, my ummah will never leave it. He said the first thing, people bragging about where they come from. Al-fakhr bil-aba. Who your father is, where you come from. The second thing he said, at-ta'an fil-ansab. Talking about other people and making them low. Their color, where they came from. But in the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal, this issue has been made clear for the one who looks and listens. If he's going to be a racist, he's going to be a racist on his own. He can't use that Quran and he can't use the Sunnah. The Quran dealt with the issue clearly. The Sunnah dealt with the issue clearly. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his real life dealing with the people. Christianity is a religion of racism, systemic racism. Jesus is white, the Son of God is white, all of the prophets are white, black people are looked at as bad in that Bible. I would never suggest anybody read that Bible if you're looking to solve the issue of racism. Jewish people the same way. They believe that they're the gift of Allah to the world. They're the chosen ones. Do whatever they want to do. Come and take your land that your father's been on. That's the Zionist Jew. He can come and take your land in Palestine and believe that that's okay because he's from the chosen people. Whereas Islam says no. The ayat of the Quran. When the Prophet came to Medina, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he lived in Medina for 10 years. 10 years. There are 53 weeks in 1 year. He lived in Medina 10 years. Every Friday he got on that minbar. For when he came to Medina, they had Salatul Jummah, the Khutbah Jummah. 10 years he would get on that minbar. Obviously he traveled sometime. He went to Hajj. He went to Jihad. But 10 years he would say Khutbah al-Hajj. Every week the Muslims were here. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء. Abu Bakr and Uthman, Ali, and those Salihin from those companions, those awliya, the uqala, those people, they would hear that ayat every week. O mankind, fear Allah who created you. Created you from one man, Adam. And from that man created his mate, Hawa. And from them two, he put many men and women. The companions would hear that every year, for 10 years, every Friday. Every nikah that he did. Every khutbah for the Eid. Anytime he wanted to gather the people. It could be 3 o'clock. They already prayed Salat al-Dhuhr. They didn't pray Asr. Rasulullah said, Bilal, make the adhan. And the people would come to the masjid. And then the Prophet would say this khutbah al-Hajj. Always saying this ayat. Letting the people know. Everybody here comes from one man and one woman. Is that the only ayat like that in the Quran? No, there are others. Allah mentioned that He made us وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارِفُ. Allah made you nations and tribes. I look in the audience, there are people who come from different parts of the world. You're all different. Allah didn't make me African American to come here and I can't get along with him because of where I come from. It's different from where he comes from. I don't like you because where I come from, my tribe is different from you. That's insanity. Insanity. But the book of Allah dealt with it. The Bible doesn't. The Torah, the Injil, Sikhism, Hinduism, none of that. So if the Muslim in this masjid, other than this masjid, he wants to be a racist, then be a racist with yourself. But know for surety, other Muslims who know the religion, your racism doesn't affect them at all. They look at you as if you're ignorant. Something's wrong with you. Because he's an Arab. Arab! He's walking around thinking he's better than someone. Just because he's an Arab. There's one of the great companions who was from the ulama of the Quran. His name is Ubay ibn Ka'b, Abu Munzir. When the Prophet used to pray, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if he made a mistake in the salah, everybody would be quiet to let Ubay correct the Nabi, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One time Ubay didn't correct him after the salah. Rasulullah said, Ubay, were you not in the masjid? He said, Ya Rasulullah, I was shy. I didn't want to say anything. He was the one who made the tasweeb of the Quran. He was the one who, they're praying. Ubay would come in late and pull someone out of the line and get there. And then explain to the people that the ulama like Ubay should be behind the imam. He's a tremendous scholar in Islam of the Quran. Ubay ibn Ka'b was sitting. He heard a man, an Arab, and he's an Arab. And the man started bragging about where he came from. I'm this, I'm that, and I'm this, and I'm from Quraysh, and I'm this, I'm Sharif, and I'm this and I'm that, and you're black, and you're this, and that. And he was bragging. Ubayd said in the front of all of the people, bite on your father's. People were shocked. They were shocked. They said, Ubayd, we didn't know that you were a man with that kind of tongue. We never saw that from you. He told the people, Uskutu, be quiet. Tell me that. I heard the Prophet say, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُ الرَّجُلِ يَتَعَزَّ بِعَزَاءِ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ فَعِدُّوهُ بِهِنْ أَبِيهِ وَلَا تُكَنُّوهُ. If any of you sees a man, hears a man bragging the way they used to do in the times of Jahiliyyah, I'm this, my father's this, I come from, I'm this, La Ummalaka, I'm that, I'm no father to you, where you come from? If you see a man doing that, Rasulullah said, tell him to bite on his father's and don't sugarcoat it. Say it just like that. And the Nabi was not a man who would talk in lewd language, but he was making the mu'alajah of a serious problem. Something's wrong with you. Who in his right mind walks around talking about, I'm better than you because my father was this and that? Well, if you're so proud of where you came from, then bite the place where you came from. Who's going to be proud of that? No one but a jahil. No one but a jahil who's mutakabbir. So the one who is racist from our community, you have to know your religion, Ya Abdullah. You have to know your religion. There are some Muslims who, because they know who Allah is, they know that Allah is Al-Mateen, Al-Kabir, Al-Qawi, Al-Jabbar, Al-Mutakabbir. They know that Allah is Al-Qabid. They know everything is in the hand of Allah. He has Aqidah. When the person knows who Allah is, he won't let anybody tell him what he can't do. He has to go into some business meeting. He has to go somewhere. And there are a bunch of people in there. He walks in there, not arrogantly, but he walks in there like a man. Scared of what? And that's how those companions they were, Ridwanullahi alayhim. When all of the Arabs of the Arabian Peninsula came against the Muslims, it never happened, ever, in the histories of the Arabs. It never happened before, and it's not going to happen. It didn't happen after, where the Arabs can come together and get their common enemy. They'll never do it. And Africans can't do it as well. People just don't do that. But on this occasion, all of the Arabs in the Arabian desert, all of them came together and said, we're going to extinguish the light of Islam. Once and for all, we're going to do away with Muhammad. Yeah, the battle of Badr, he won. The battle of Uhud, it was a tie. These other wars here, but this one, we're going to do away with them. The battle of the Ahzab, Surah Al-Ahzab. Allah mentioned in that ayah of the Quran, الَّذِينَ قَالَ لَهُمُ النَّاسِ إِنَّ النَّاسَ قَدْ جَمْعُوا لَكُمْ فَاخْشَوْهُمْ فَزَادَهُمْ إِيمَانًا وَقَالُوا حَسْبُنَا اللَّهُ وَنِعْمَ الْوَكِيلُ. The people, when they came and told their companions, all of the Arabs are coming to get you, so you have to be scared of them. Those companions said, we're not scared of them. Hasbuna Allah. Allah is enough for us. And they dealt with them. They were not scared. That's when the person knows his religion. He's not going to let anybody look at him as being better than him and other than that. So the best in the sight of Allah Azza wa Jal are those who have the most taqwa. I want to share this hadith with you, and I hope, inshallah Azza wa Jal, you brothers remember this hadith. Ma dumtum hayy. As long as you are alive, inshallah, you remember this hadith. The ayah said Allah created everybody from Adam. And then from Adam, he created from Adam his wife, Hawa. And he created her from the rib on the right side. The Prophet said about the woman, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إِنَّ الْمَرْأَةَ خُلِقَتْ مِنْ دِلْعَةٍ وَإِنَّهَا لَن تَسْتَقِيمَ لَكَ عَلَى طَرِيقَةٍ إذا تركتها وفي عواج وإن ذهبت لتقيمها كسرتها وكسرها طلاقها. Her nature has been explained to us. So as a Muslim man, I have a book, I have the Sunnah, I can understand my wife. The one who created her has helped me to understand her. But I had to learn my religion. But I want to treat it like the men in Jahiliyyah, the racism of Jahiliyyah, those things before Islam. One man got upset with the Prophet, with one of the companions who was black, with Bilal. He kind of called him the N-word. It's as if he said that. He said, "You son of a black lady," which means you. That's what it meant. That's what he was trying to say. Your children use the word not to put people down, but they call each other. This is a term that people from my community, they will whip and kill for this word. So that man said it to that other man. You black person, son of a black lady. The man went and told the Prophet what he said. The Rasul said, "Did you say that to him?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Do you accuse him because of his mother?" Who's saying he has anything to do with what sex he came out? How he looks, what his color is, how tall he is. Who here has something to do with that? That you're going to blame someone else for the way he looks? Who here has something to do with how he came out, what color he is? Did you blame him because of his mother? He said, "Yes, Ya Rasulullah." Then he told him, "Innaka mri'un fika jahiliyyah." You a man, you have jahiliyyah in you. That's what the people did before I came with the enlightenment of Islam. They talked about people for things that they didn't have anything to do with. So in the times of the Jahiliyyah, they would treat the woman, no rights. The man today treats his woman like the times of Jahiliyyah. Mistreats her in this masjid. And then the man has the nerve to come and talk about the mawlid. The mawlid is haram. Yes, ya akhi, the mawlid is haram. But wallahi, being disrespectful to your parents is worse than doing that bid'ah of the mawlid. The way you're treating your wife is worse than doing the innovation of the mawlid. You got it twisted. You mixed up. As it relates to this issue of Adam and Eve, the Prophet mentioned in this hadith, I want you to remember, inshallah, قال صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله خلق آدم من قبضة قبضها من جميع الأرض فجاء بنو آدم على نحو الأرض أو على قدر الأرض فمنهم الأحمر والأسود وما بين ذلك ومنهم الحزن والسهم وما بين ذلك ومنهم الخبيث والطيب وما بين ذلك. When Allah created Adam, Allah created him by taking some of the dirt from all of the world, the different colors, dirt, all textures, all colors. The sand, white, yellow, black, red, all of that. And then he created Adam. And as a result of that, Adam's children come out. Some of them are white and some of them are black and some of them in between. He's dark, he's darker, he's light, he's lighter. Who in his right mind would sit up here and say, "I don't like him because he's dark"? Who says that? The one with Iman says, look how Allah created him and created him darker and created him lighter. I walked with a brother to get married to a family. They were not Africans like us. They were Asians. But I went with the brother because they respect an older person would come with him. If he went by himself and his mother, he wouldn't got any play. But as soon as I got there, I could see that they didn't like us. They didn't want us. And the young man let it out, and he said he didn't like our color. But you know what the crazy thing was? They were darker than us. Wallahi, from this minbar, the guy was darker than us. But his racism is in his head. It's in his head. The Arabs who are here, you're not white people. Arabs who come from Sham, they are aftahalon, they are lighter. You're not white. You're not white. Man from the Sham called us Abid. He didn't mean it in a bad way. What are we going to do on the day of the Eid? Who's going to take care of parking the cars? One of the men from Sham said, leave the brothers, the Abid, to do it. He meant the black brothers, the reverse. He didn't even mean it in that kind of a way. But don't call us Abid. But that's in his language, in his head. And I'm not saying it's having a go at anyone. I'm saying solve these issues that's in our minds and our hearts about this racism. Allah created Adam, and Adam's children are black and white and everything in between. He said, and Adam's children are Hazan and sahl. Some of them are difficult to get along with, and some of them are easy. And everybody between that. There's that person, no matter how you try, you can't get along with him. He's from Adam's children, and he's created from that dirt over there. And then there's someone who's easy, he's malleable, like that dirt. And then he says some of them are khabith, and some of them are tayyib. Khabith means he's nasty, he's foul. Khabith, he wants to have relationships with kids. He molests kids. He's khabith. What's wrong with you, man? What kind of enjoyment do you get out of raping women and molesting kids? What's wrong with you? And some of them are pure. They're nice people. So the point here, ikhwati fillah, from the mahasin of al-Islam is this issue of racism. Don't be a racist. The racist is a person who has a problem with Allah Ta'ala and what Allah has chosen. Allah knew what he was doing when he created everyone the way that you've been created. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ونسأل الله تعالى السداد والتوفيق. Can you move up, Ikhwani? We don't have enough room downstairs and we have people trying to come in. So can you come in and squeeze in? Alhamdulillah, hamdulillah kathiran wa tayyiban mubarakan fi. Can you come up and cooperate? You have people who are standing there, who want to come through. Ummah to Islam, I don't want anyone here to understand that I'm here having a go at any community group. When I mention the people of Asham, there are people who are from the awliya of Allah from Asham. They have a standard. As I said, I look at people who accepted Islam before me. I look at them as being the sabiqeen. They got virtues over me. It doesn't mean that they're always right, but I respect that. And from them are the people of Asham. The Arabs from Asham, they have a special position in this religion. But I'm sharing with you what comes out as a result of where we come from. So if you're of color, like from Africa, it doesn't excuse us and exonerate us. People who are from Africa are racist. The Rwandan people, the Houthis and the Tutsis are fighting each other and killing each other over racism. Wherever you go in the Muslim world, in Africa, wherever you go, if you're an African, wherever you are, start calling where you come from. We're racist towards other African people, where we come from. One African group of people say, I have Arab blood in me, so I'm better than the ones who don't have Arab blood. Or you don't even have to have Arab blood. He comes from that tribe, I come from this tribe, I'm better. Nah, that's not our religion. This is an issue of a jahiliyyah. And the one who believes in that stuff and that mess, and you believe in it knowing there are people around you who they know this religion. They may not be scholars, but they know who Allah is. And as a result of that, no one is going to allow you to make them feel like they're a second-class citizen because you have issues in your own head. So we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to help us to do away with this racism issue. I want to make this point because I forgot that does not mean that as an African American, I have a daughter. Any and everybody who comes to marry my daughter, I'm just going to marry you to my daughter. No. There has to be a level of insijam, harmony. And she has to get along with that guy. I'm not going to marry my daughter to someone from another nation, another tribe who doesn't speak my language, doesn't understand me. There are going to be problems between him and my daughter. So I don't want any young person here to think just because I make this khutbah in Islam is against racism. You can just go to a Somali man and say, marry me to your daughter. He says no. Why he says no? Because he wants a Somali kid from where he comes from for his daughter. Does that mean that Somali kid never get divorced? No, it doesn't mean that. But birds of a feather flock together. So I don't want the young people thinking that we just have to throw everything away. No. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam never married a woman except she had a high lineage. So if a person wants to marry a woman because of her lineage, it's permissible. So I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is looking down on people, looking bad at people, thinking you're better than people because of their color and where they come from. May Allah forgive us all, make us of those people, truth and word and deed, establish on the kitab and the sunnah, and make us of those people, inshallah ta'ala, who hear the word and follow the best of it. Aqim as-salat. Yarhamakum.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم. الله أكبر. سبحانك اللهم. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سبحان الله. الله أكبر.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.